They say most things in life are black and white. Wrong. They are brown and wit. That's right. Brown and Whitworth making this planet better because you know Jeff Bezos and his greedy ass ain't. Brown and Whitworth Foundation. Free. Free. It's fucking free. That's right. 10-8 personal training is giving away a free training session. That's a free hour in Captain Cranberry's personal fitness center that makes him a superhero. You've seen him at tournaments tearing them up. What are you doing? What are you doing? Free. What are you guys doing? You guys like free shit? If this was a free gallon of butter, you guys would be lined up around the block. But no, free exercise and an afternoon with handsome Captain Cranberry. You guys are treating it like it's the fucking plague. Call him up. I got his number right here. Call my man, Captain Cranberry, aka Dylan. 951-445-3133. Pick up your fat fucking hands. Get your dialing wand because your fingers are too fat for the buttons and call 951-445-3133. Or you could visit them at 10-8 Personal Training on the Instagrams. Inflation sucks. Gas prices suck. Everything's going up by the second. Your grocery bill's going up. Internet, cable, all that's going up. Well, the most important thing you have besides oxygen, water, and food is your shelter, is your home base. And if shit hits the fan, which it always is, with tornadoes and rains, hails, racism and protesting, you need to protect your shelter. And guess what? The most important part of your shelter is the top. It wouldn't be a shelter without a roof. It would just be a pool. It would just be like, it'd be like Hurricane Katrina in your house. So if you don't have a good roof, or you just paid some guy you met on Craigslist to do your roof, you're probably letting water in there, or radiation, or communism, and that ain't working. Do yourself a favor. Because guess what? The second you are hearing this right now is the cheapest you can buy a new roof. Guess what? You wait 5 minutes, it went up. Guess what? It went up now. I'm recording this right now, and by the time this releases, it's going to go up. That's just how the world's working right now. So, do yourself a favor. Go buy a roof that's going to last a lifetime. He's insured, he works hard, and he's getting better at jiu-jitsu. Call my man, Tony Mullins. His number is 423-593-9605. Again, that's affordable roofing. 423-593-9605. Go home, tell your wife, I'm going to put a beautiful new roof over your head. And see that reaction. I bet you the reaction's even better later. Call my man Tony. He's got your back. Actually, he's got your head because the roof's on the top. Back to the podcast. But this is how they're made.
Nice.
This is Willy Wonka's workshop.
I know how the magic happens now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Militia MMA podcast. I am super excited today. I got a longtime martial artist, military man, family man, longtime East Ridgian. Actually, one of my favorite people. We got some things to discuss. I think you were here the first month. Is that right?
Yes, Coach, it was.
Hell yeah. My man, Dave Yap. Dave, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good.
I'm glad you got off work today to come on in for an hour.
Oh, yeah.
So, Dave, before we get started, there's a couple of things I need to correct from the last episode I hosted. I don't think you belong on the Gum Flapper of the Year. I may still keep you on, but I think Chris Gordy is way more of a gum flapper and blows you out of the water. And also, I think you are on the coolest old fuck award. I think that I didn't realize. How old are you, Dave?
51.
51. I didn't realize you were 51. Even though you tell me you're old all the time and tape yourself up, I still see you daily. And I put Andrew on there because I just thought it would be funny to, because he's always bitching about, I'm old. I was like, yeah, let's throw Andrew in there. So we're going to, actually, we'll keep you in the gum flapper.
Okay.
Because you are a Southerner.
I am.
You are a Southerner, so you do have that in you. Southerners are good at chatting?
Yes. So one of the things to be a good Southerner is to be hospitable.
What is the art of a good conversation?
Generally, you start out like, how's the weather like? Something simple. And then...
This is if we're talking to somebody brand new.
Yeah, brand new.
Something that everybody's got to relate to.
Then you try to key into, anything personal that you might correlate to.
Okay. So you'll generally start talking martial arts with somebody in a gym.
Yeah.
If you were at work, what would you?
Generally at work, it's how their life's going, kids, stuff like that. Family, stuff like that. I work for a power company, so it's not usually IT related, even though I work IT.
Okay.
Because I'm usually talking to a customer.
You're not usually talking to... Yeah, because you're usually on the job site.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And then you look for just key points to rebuild
just build a rapport.
Okay. I noticed that you're very good talking to people, and I always appreciate the art of conversation. I always think, because from where I'm from, generally people don't go up and talk to people out of the blue without being after something or looking for something to get. You know what I mean? Or some sort of interest, or they want to know something. They don't just go, hey, where you headed, work?
Yeah, well... partly what I do is I have to, usually the shit hit the fan, and I have to calm people down. So I do it as a calming effect.
Okay, so you go in there and you just start talking with the people.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's, I guess unless it's a business, which is most of the time, but you're dealing with mostly internet?
Usually, like I said, I work for a power company, so it's... a piece of machinery's not working right.
Oh, wow. So it's not just IT. It's
yeah. And a lot of the systems that I work on deal with that piece of machinery.
So what kind of machines are you working on?
So what I do is a lot of the applications I do deal with sensors on generators and pumps and stuff like that. And what the customers deal with is break fix, maintenance, making sure that a generator lasts whatever life cycle it needs to last.
Okay.
Type deal. So we do basically monitoring and diagnostics of machinery.
And so when you go deal with a customer, is their power usually out and is it frantic or?
No, it never gets that far.
Generally, you guys are maintaining it, correct?
Yeah, generally when you go with a power company, if a plant goes down, a backup comes up.
Okay. And then you're usually there to fix the one that's down? Or most of the time you're just, are you making routine maintenance calls?
No. Like I said, I deal with the systems that the people that do the routine maintenance calls look at and make sure that it's getting the correct readings for whatever they're working on.
Wow. So it's a lot of also reading analytics,
Yes,
right?
it's more data analytics than anything else.
That's tough stuff.
Oh, yes.
Do you do your own taxes?
No, I do not.
Gotta say that because that's data and analytics too.
It is, and unfortunately, I know how to work on the systems, but I'm still working on learning how to do data analytics and stuff like that.
And how long have you been doing this for the power company?
For the power company, going on 10 years.
10 years, and it's always changing and updating.
Yeah, it's always changing and updating. My IT background is almost 30 years of IT.
Wow, that's crazy. But you're the hands-on IT, right?
I am hands-on right now.
Do you enjoy that more?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I learn stuff pretty much every time a new piece of equipment comes into play, or a new software, or a new idea for stuff. I have to learn it.
Does newer equipment break down more than older equipment? Like, because an old refrigerator lasts forever from the 70s. Same with an oven, a microwave, any old a tube television.
Yeah. Well, generally, most computers, if you don't abuse them, will last 5 years.
Okay. And 5 years is considered long.
Yeah. And I've seen some last for 10 years. What usually gets you is when they do OS upgrades and stuff like that.
What's OS?
The operating system, like a new version of Windows, a new version of Mac.
That's always a nightmare. I miss Windows 98.
Yeah.
How simple and useful.
It was very simple and very useful, but Microsoft lost money if it goes over that point. So they come up with a brand new.
When you get a computer now, it's just loaded with McCaffrey, Norton antivirus, all stuff you don't need. And you got to pretty much clear it out to get it to run.
Oh, yeah.
Or else it's going to be slow.
Yeah. There's a bunch of adware and stuff like that they add on. But, that's how they sell a computer. The manufacturers are making maybe $500 off a computer.
I paid for my computer here, I got it on Black Friday, I think for $250.
Yeah.
$150 off. So they probably made next to nothing off of it.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they made a lot. That's probably
it's an all-in-one. It looks nice for a desk because you don't have a tower.
Yeah. What they probably did, because when I'm talking about they make $500 off a computer, they're doing pennies on the dollar on the actual equipment in there.
Yeah, the equipment.
Yeah.
But they got $500 in software in here, right?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so they don't care if they don't make anything. Yeah. I hear video game consoles are like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they don't make much, but it's
the games.
It's the games.
Yeah, it's what runs the stuff is what they make the money off of.
So, like, when you generally buy, like, computers and stuff and this, they're not making a huge amount. Maybe the processor company is making money.
A little bit, yeah, but it's the software that they're wanting to get sold.
Wow. So most money in the tech world is made off software, not hardware.
Yeah.
Besides the precious metal companies mining the copper and silver.
Yeah, and the weird thing is all these people are stealing copper pipes off your stuff like that. They can make more money if they can figure out how to mine it off a computer board.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
And there's a good amount of gold.
There's tons of precious metals in a computer.
My buddy worked for a company back in New Jersey about 15 years ago. What they did was they sent old computers to China because China was mining the copper.
Oh, yeah.
And he would say, it's funny, every time he'd grab a bunch of computers, he'd hide and put all the copper in his pocket, the big coolers.
Yeah.
That cooled the motherboards put up. He's like, these things are worth like $8.
Oh, yeah.
Now they're worth much, much more.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, what gets put on a motherboard is a lot of money. The hardest part about it is nobody wants to spend the money to get it all out.
Oh, it's a lot of work unless you know what you're doing. And it's still a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
Like old cell phones and stuff have some gold in it. But I remember like trying to do that it was so much work.
Yes, it is a large amount of work. There was a bunch of companies out there that were going to be like green disposaries where you could take your computers, your old batteries.
They do
like
that in
car
California.
batteries, and that was like a thing for a while, and then it slowly died down. It's just a lot of work to get the stuff out of it.
It is like it's like stripping wires.
Yeah.
It's funny, like it'll go up too with like
Yeah.
people's time because precious metals are limited supply.
Yeah.
What do you think of like electric cars?
I think that's where everybody's going now.
You think we missed the ball on like hydrogen?
No. The thing with hydrogen is the technology's not completely there yet.
Because we all went
Yeah.
the electric way, which it's not there yet either.
It's not there, but the technology is, an electric car is mainly a battery. They've gotten so good with batteries nowadays.
Yeah, with the lithium.
Yeah, with the lithium and being able to manage batteries and stuff like that, that electric cars is more affordable to buy now.
But
Or
isn't there
make.
a tremendous amount of copper in there? And we would have to upgrade the grid with more copper. And well, quite frankly, if everybody had an electric car, we probably wouldn't have enough copper in the world to supply. That's what I've heard rumors say.
Maybe, I don't know. I know a lot of the infrastructure is already there because I remember seeing a bunch of those electric car stations in like different restaurants and stuff.
Okay.
And then they took them away, and now they're bringing them back. So it's not like it's gone away. It's just like we aren't using it. Oh, now we're going to use it.
Yeah.
Type deal. Like you can look at Hamilton Place. They've like one end of their parking lot. They're putting in a lot of those electric cars.
Okay, yeah. In California, they're all over the
Yeah.
place. But also fuel prices through the roof. I think they're at like $7 a gallon.
And I think that's the reason why fuel prices are going up. Is they're realizing that they're not going to have a market share pretty soon.
Unless they push. So you think it's trying to push this? I know oil companies are making good money still.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the push to go to electric is because of oil prices. But I think the oil price people are going, wait a second, we're getting a lot more electric cars, so we're going to get as much money as we can.
Yeah, they'll do both.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we got all this stuff for oil. The thing where we have it is, we're just tied in with our diesel.
Yeah.
And right now, historically, I was reading an article. This is the biggest gap between diesel and gasoline. And our trucking industry is run off diesel, and so is our agriculture.
Yeah.
And the reason it's so bad, and we're seeing it because, all these places like all these, if you want almonds, they need fertilizer that runs off diesel. One of the members, Pat, was speaking about it and how the fertilizer bills triple. That our surplus is at a historic low.
Yeah, I can see that.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
And that's what's driving to. So I know we're a little off topic.
Oh, you're fine. You're
So
fine.
Dave, let's talk chit chat about you. Where'd you grow up? Where were you born?
I was born in the Philippines.
All right.
Moved to California when I was a year old.
Northern, southern.
I'm not exactly sure. I don't.
Were you on a military base?
No. My mom is a psychiatrist. My dad's an electrician.
Wow.
So they decided to move to the from the Philippines to the United States. And when you do that from an Asian country, you always end up in California first.
That makes sense because it's
Yeah.
the port. Like that's
Yeah.
why I'm third generation here from Italy, and everybody came in through New York.
Yeah. So anybody from Europe comes into New York. Everybody from Asia comes into California. And then from California, we moved to Kentucky.
What age?
I don't remember. I know I did grade school in Kentucky.
Okay, now let's backtrack for a second. Was your mom? So your mom was a psychiatrist. Was she brought across through a program? Like I had a Filipino. She was awesome, Filipino physical therapist, and she said she was brought probably somewhere in your age through a program Her husband's military, but they had a program bringing a physical therapist over.
Yeah.
Was your mom
No.
or dad brought over because of their profession, or programs weren't going on back then?
I'm sure there was. She was just trying to get. She had just finished all her schooling in the Philippines, and she was going to try to get her license here in the United States. So
More money and opportunity.
More money and opportunity. The reason why we moved to Kentucky was she did her residency in one of the Kentucky hospitals.
And she liked it.
Yeah, she liked it. And then because you go your residency, then you go to private practice. When she went to private practice, we moved to North Carolina, right outside of Camp Pendleton.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a small town called Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Wow. There's Camp Pendleton in North Carolina, too.
Oh, not Pendleton.
Pendleton's California. What is it?
Shoot,
I didn't mean to call you out.
No, you're right. Pendleton's. Well, all I know.
Bobby, look it up.
All I know is it's in North Carolina. It was
Okay.
Jacksonville.
Okay.
So we spent my middle school years, which is eighth, seventh, eighth, sixth, seventh, eighth grade, in North Carolina, and then we moved here in Chattanooga my ninth grade year.
Ninth grade year.
Yeah.
So you were a freshman in Chattanooga.
Yeah.
You moved here. What part did you move to? Was it Eastridge?
We moved to Red Bank first.
What zip is that?
415, I think.
415. Okay. I'm still figuring them out, so I'm always like, what zip is that?
Yeah, we landed in Red Bank, then moved to Hickson, Camp Lejeune.
Camp Lejeune. Cool. Camp Lejeune, North Carolina.
Yeah.
So you moved to Hickson?
We moved to Hickson, and I spent most of high school in Hickson. Went into the Marine Corps for 6 years.
What age did you go to the Marine Corps?
18.
18.
Mm-hmm.
So after senior year, you signed up senior year?
Yeah, I signed up senior year. Originally, I had a reserve contract, but the year I signed up, we went through Desert Storm.
Did you go away?
Actually, I spent 3 years. If the war had lasted longer, I would have gone to the desert. I spent 3 years doing nuclear, chemical, and biological training, high-end artillery training.
Wow. So were you a good student?
Yeah.
Or growing up in high school? Wow.
I mean, you have the stereotypical Asian guy.
Like that, he's smart, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't say I'm smart. I just know how to study.
But stereotypically, which is, I think stereotypically Filipino people are more tough than smart.
Yeah.
Not saying they're not intelligent, but on a higher stereotype, Filipino people are tough.
Yeah. I will go with that. I've been more tough, and yeah, I'd say
and
tough.
like Japanese stereotype is super intelligent.
Yeah.
Filipino, Thai, Guam, they're all kind of tougher Asian.
Yeah, and that's because we're more of a blue collar type environment that we grew
I
up
actually
in.
heard they would say in California, Mexican Asian.
Yeah, I can see that.
That was like a common thing because there was a ton of Filipino. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, Mexican Asian. What?
And the thing is I've been over the years been called Mexican. I've been called an American Indian.
Really?
Yeah.
I've gotten like Israeli before.
Oh, yeah, I can see
when I worked
that.
in California, I've gotten a couple things. And it wasn't until I moved to California that people thought I was like some people would think I was foreign just because, like, no, you go to New Jersey, we all look like this.
Yeah.
We all fit the mold 'cause we got in through that port.
Yeah.
Like, there's millions of me. We look like Lego men. You know what I mean?
I can see that. The funny thing is I don't remember this, but my mom told the story. It was me and my dad. We were going I can't remember exactly where we're going, but we were traveling by bus. And
where were you living at the time?
I think this was in Kentucky.
Okay.
And a tribe, well, an actual American Indian group said, "What tribe are you from?"
Really?
Yeah. And we're like, we're Filipino.
They probably never seen a Filipino person. And
Maybe.
what was the Philippine population like in Kentucky?
It's quite big. There's actually a quite a big Filipino.
When you first moved there?
Yeah. We would have parties every weekend, and
You guys knew how to party?
oh yeah. So a Filipino party consists of a lot of food.
Like an Italian party?
Yeah, but
People don't know how to do food out here, do they?
No, they don't.
They don't know how to
They
do
don't.
Lumpia?
lumpia.
That's the big, everybody gets excited for lumpia
Yeah.
where I was in California. It's good.
And then they would do
The noodles?
the noodles, but they would also put a pig on a spit. So the whole party, you're sitting here doing this.
A little closer to Hawaiian
Yeah,
style.
yeah.
Like a luau, huh?
Yeah, just like a luau.
Is Hawaiian culture similar to Philippine culture?
I would say so. I don't know that many Hawaiians, but I would say so. It's more of a gathering. Like the big thing for Filipino parties is karaoke.
That's such an Asian thing.
Yeah, they love karaoke.
So does our producer Bobby. He's a queen on that. Like
to this day, one of the key things that I see my parents bring is a little karaoke machine.
Like one of those.
Yeah, just like one of those.
Do they have the screen?
No, they don't have the screen.
No,
but
this doesn't. But it has a mic.
yeah, they got
They probably got it
the
at
mic.
Sam's Club too.
Oh yeah, they probably did. You know, they'll print out the words and they will sing. They might not sing well, but they will sing.
Yeah, it's just like they're yelling at the mic. I yell at the mic too when I do karaoke.
Yeah.
That's all. Wow. Yeah, that's such an Asian thing.
It is. It is. They love their karaoke and they love their food.
And they love their food, but it's funny. You would probably think like Hawaiian culture is probably closer to Philippine culture than it is U.S. culture.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's because a lot of the things that
the locals, of course, not the tourists.
Well, the biggest thing is Asian mentality is community.
Okay.
Like everybody that you know, whether you're related to them or not, if they're older than you, they're an uncle or an aunt.
Okay. That's very similar to American Indian as well. Same culture. I like that culture.
Yeah.
We have our community at the gym.
Yeah.
I was just telling one of our members, she said she was a massage therapist. I said, go mobile. She's like, I don't want to be in some weirdo's house. I was like, don't worry, you can make a lot of money here. They're all weird, but so am I, but they're not creeps. It's like, but yes, you'd be in weirdo's house, but good weirdos.
She would actually make a killing here because everybody's like, oh, I'm sore.
I know. She actually works at a chiropractic office. They're doing a deal right now. They're not sponsoring here, so they're making a mistake. It's like $50 for an adjustment, an x-ray, and an hour massage.
Yeah.
But we'll wait till she goes mobile. That's our member, Lisa, so we'll always shout our members out.
Yeah, and so I did pool tournaments for a very long time. And in a few of those pool tournaments, they had a massage therapist.
Really?
And they made a killing.
Was it mostly shoulder work?
So when you play a lot of pool, it's your lower back.
From bending.
From bending over.
And will that mess up your shot?
It will. Like I told you before, I was a semi-professional pool player.
Yes. So wait, let's get into that. How'd you get started in pool? What age? What was your first time on a pool table?
We went back to the Philippines when I was 12, and my cousins. So that's the big thing.
That's the first time you went back to the Philippines, 12.
Yep.
Like when you're online, you don't remember Philippines before that?
Nope.
You're American.
Yeah, I was American. I've only been to the Philippines once, and that was when I was 12. My dad's from Manila, which is like a big port city.
Yeah. You a Pacquiao fan?
I am, actually.
Okay.
I like Pacquiao. And my mom's from Cebu.
Cebu. Okay.
So
Manila's the city. Cebu is probably a little bit more farm.
It's like a jungle suburb.
It's more like Rio.
Yes.
I've never been, but apparently.
Yeah, it's from what I remember of Cebu, there's a lot. It's more like a tourist location if you want to go to the beaches and stuff like that.
Okay.
The houses are a lot nicer. But
so it's a little more. They have resorts there.
Yeah, it's more like a resort town. Cebu.
And it's probably closer to the big airport.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Manila.
That's where I would go if I was there. I would probably go to Manila at least and try.
Well, you got to go to Manila
train.
first. Yeah, you got to go to Manila first because that's where all the international flights come in.
Oh, okay.
And then you take a boat between the different islands.
Wow, it's not even puddle jumpers.
Nope. There might be puddle jumpers now, but when I went, it was a boat.
Okay. So you went at 12.
I went at 12. At Cebu, they have all these different. Here we would call them pool halls, but they're open air, several pool tables underneath an open air pavilion.
So it had a roof.
It had a roof.
Which made it a building, affordable roofing. Roof is the most important part, right, Dave?
That's right.
Okay, good. So now, were these pool tables, like, beat up? Were they level?
They're level. I mean, they weren't as beat up as you would think.
Because these guys cared about pool?
Yeah. And so the Philippines are known for two things. They're pool players and they're pistol shooters.
Really?
Yeah, they've got a really big firearms competition leg. And then they're pool players. A lot of the Filipino pool players, nobody wants to touch.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet they're gangsters.
Oh, yeah. It's constant gambling, and we're talking high-dollar gambling.
High-dollar gambling. And people bet on the players.
Oh, yeah.
So you went in, you saw this pavilion.
Yep.
Kids were playing pool?
Yep. My cousins and I played the game of rotation. And it's like playing 9-ball, except you use all 15 balls. And it's called a pocket shot.
Oh, wow.
So
you dove into the deep end.
Oh, yeah. It's a hard game. I had no clue how to hold a cue or anything else like that.
So you just went there and get whooped.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, my cousins were a little bit better, but they still weren't the best.
So they were still showing you a little bit?
Yeah, they're still showing me, I at least learned how to hold a cue right and stuff like that. And it kind of stuck ever since.
Wow. So how long did you spend in the Philippines?
We were there for 4 months. You just don't go to the Philippines for like a week.
No.
You
it's
got to
an
be there
extended time.
Yeah, you got to be there for a while.
Wow. So you spent some time, visited your family, fell in love with pool.
Yep.
Was this pre-martial arts?
Well, it was pre-training for martial arts. I was always in the martial arts.
How'd you get started in martial arts?
Being picked on as a kid. I was a small, short, dumpy Asian kid.
Yeah, and were you the only Asian kid in school?
Yeah. For the most part, when we moved to Kentucky, I was the only Asian kid.
But you still had a community growing up.
But they went to different schools and stuff like that.
They were the only Asian kids in their school.
Yeah.
So all the Asian people in like southern Kentucky got together.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that was your uncles and aunts. And
yeah. And the funny thing is, and I remember it now, but I could have learned martial arts when I was younger, because part of these like weekend gets-togethers, they would have a big Kali.
With the stick fighting.
With the stick fighting. I remember them stick fighting in Kentucky, but nobody ever told me what it was. but
everybody circled up.
Well, it was a big house. You know, the partying was going upstairs, but downstairs there was like a little room for the kids, and then another room where like teenagers and an instructor would do Kali.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So they had a martial. That was like their dojo room.
Yeah, it was like their dojo room. Yeah.
So instead of like weightlifting, some people have in their house, they had like a mat or.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was just carpeted floor. It was a carpeted floor,
okay.
and when you practice stick fighting, it's usually outside or underneath a carport or something like that.
Or in the pavilion.
Yeah, or in the pavilion. So it's. I didn't know this. I could have learned, but I guess there was an age limit, and I wasn't quite at that age limit.
Of course. So that was the first time you seen it at the house?
That's
at a party?
At a party, yeah.
It's like, all right, we all had a couple drinks. Drinkers in the Philippines at the parties?
There's a ton of drinkers.
Oh, yeah. What was the drink of choice? Beers?
Beers. I don't think anybody was ever picky about drinks.
What is there a traditional, like, Filipino punch that's in the middle and everybody drinks it?
Nope. It's mostly beers. It's mostly beers. I mean, they if you go back to the Philippines, they're always drinking beer.
Just beers and partying, eating pig.
Oh, yeah.
Singing karaoke.
Stick fighting.
What a party. That's a party.
That is a party.
How long would they last for? Like,
I think we would start around 5 and not end till like closer to midnight.
Okay, good. So then a couple stragglers will stay up till 4.
I guess. I don't know.
You didn't make it that long.
I never make it that long.
You were still a kid. Oh, I bet. Filipinos are crazy in a good way.
Oh, yeah. We tend to be a little redneck sometimes if we're in the South.
Yeah, well, I would consider you more of an American Southerner than a Filipino because you grew up here.
Yeah.
And it's a melting pot.
Oh, yeah. It is a big melting pot.
And you have more Southernness, Americanness than you do to Philippines.
Yeah. And the funny thing is when I started grade school, I didn't speak a word of English, but I had a stutter.
You had a stutter when you spoke Filipino?
No, I still have a stutter, but through voice coaching and all that, voice physical therapy, I don't know what they call it, they taught me English, and they got rid of my stutter.
And they gave you a Southern accent.
And I completely forgot. Well, yeah, they gave me a Southern accent because
they're like, here, we all have stutters here. Don't worry. We're not trying to speed here. Let's slow it down.
Well, this was Kentucky, so
so it's even slower than here.
Yeah, yeah. It's got that Southern drawl and all that.
I went to speech therapy too.
Yeah, and basically, I forgot how to actually speak Filipino, and I now have a Southern accent.
That's awesome. I know, that's great. It's funny, Colton's wife has a Southern accent too. She's from Guam. Our family's from Guam.
Oh.
I think she was born here, but like was raised around the way.
It blows a lot of people's minds that I have a Southern accent.
Do people come up to you and talk all slow? A lot, no. First approaching you?
Not
they do
really.
that to Colton's wife. They'll go out to her and they'll talk all slow and think she's like... They'll slow their talking down, like Meg on the podcast.
Oh, Lord.
Start talking like you're retarded or something. Like, I'm
trying to spell the words out.
Yeah. Do you still... what is the language called in the
Tagalog.
Philippines? Can you still speak in it?
I don't know. Actually,
can you understand it?
I can understand it. Actually, I'm starting to forget all that too, because usually the words I know is when my mom or my dad are mad at me.
So you know all the cuss words.
I know all the cuss words, all the you're in trouble words.
So what did you get beat up with growing up? I'm sure you had a fiery family, huh?
It was more getting pushed around. I mean,
your mom never beat you with like the spoon.
You mean my mom?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Who beat you?
God.
What did your mom beat you with?
Her shoe.
Her shoe. Was it a flip flop?
Whatever shoe she had on.
Whatever she should.
Yes.
So you caught the high heel sometimes?
Yeah. So if she was mad at you, first thing she would do, reach down, grab a shoe, and just come right at you. Didn't matter what shoe it was.
Oh, I bet it's super frustrating too, because the Filipino language is her first language, right?
Yeah.
So there's probably been times where she was frustrated and couldn't say what she said, but she's like, you could read the shoe.
No. I knew what she was saying. I've been yelled up enough in Filipino to know what she was saying.
It's all right. There was no, she's like, I'm going to articulate and hit you.
Yeah, that's right. And my dad, he would basically throw me. He's a black belt in judo.
Really?
Yeah.
You are a black belt as well in judo.
I haven't formally gotten a black belt in judo. Nobody's given me one.
Okay. Tell your dad to step it up.
My dad doesn't care. He's not going to give me a black belt. I'll tell you what. He gave my brother a black belt in judo. And basically, what he did was he went to a bookstore, found a training manual, and went by the training manual and just handed him a black belt. And the only reason why he gave him a black belt because my brother owns a school and he was...
You need to make money.
Yeah, you need to make money. For me, he was like, you know enough. I don't have to give you back black belt.
Yeah, open a school and I'll put whatever belt you want. And that's kind of a common thing even in jiu-jitsu now. Like, it's getting watered down a little bit. And that's why I think it's important to make belts hard to earn. And especially jiu-jitsu. There's 5 in the... It's supposed to be a 10-year span.
Yeah.
If you're good, it could come a little less. If you don't come to as much, it takes long.
Yeah.
But I think there's something to it. And I also think it's also good to be a lower belt beating higher belt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's a fun feeling.
Well, and the thing is I've trained in so many different things. And once I figure out, how the gist goes, I pick up really quickly.
So you said we'll talk about the martial arts since we're touching. When did you have your first traditional class?
My first traditional class, we moved to Hickson.
So it was here?
Yeah, it was here. I went to a place called Choose Taekwondo.
How old? What year was that? And how old were you?
Let's see. I got my black belt in '88. It took me 3 years.
2 years after I was born.
87, around 85, 86.
86.
Yeah, and the only reason why I went is my dad's an electrician and Chew needed work, so he bartered. He bartered. So basically, I got to go wherever class I want, go whenever I want, and my dad would do his electrical work.
Yeah, fix his paper wires.
Yeah,
with the
like
insulation.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I basically took Taekwondo, Hapkido, and some judo. Because the judo class was like in the afternoon, around lunchtime deal.
Okay.
So it was more of an adult class.
But since your dad was the guy, like you get to go to the classes.
So I could go to the class, and but mainly it was Hapkido and Taekwondo.
What is Hapkido?
Hapkido is a mixture of Aikido and Judo.
How do you like it?
I like it. So the main misunderstanding about like Aikido is that it's like meant for fighting, but it's really meant. So Aikido is for police officers.
Okay.
The joint locks were for control.
Yeah, they're mostly small manipulations.
Yeah.
You're not really going to see some of those crazy throws off of a wrist lock.
No.
In a real life scenario.
In a real life scenario, that's more for demo purposes, but it's more for like your bodyguards. They teach Hapkido to the Korean president's bodyguards.
Okay, so it's mainly to protect your weapon and fight hands.
Correct. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, around here, it's more like learning how to get pummel for underhooks and stuff like that.
Yeah. Which is a useful thing. It's just a different arts approach.
Yeah.
And it has its use in mix.
Yeah, mix.
It's probably not complete.
Well, the thing is Hapkido completed it by adding like Shotokan elements. So you have your kicks and punches from Shotokan.
Okay.
Which is basically what Taekwondo is. It's Shotokan.
Yeah, Shotokan karate, which is very similar to what George St. Pierre did, which was
Kyokushin.
Kyokushin, absolutely.
Yeah,
which is no strikes to the head.
Yep.
But kicks to the head, because anybody could punch anybody in the face, but it takes skill to do a head kick.
Yep.
One of my training partners is super talented, fought in the UFC back in the day. Not here, but when I was there, we were both. I was the grappling coach, and he was the Muay Thai coach, Tarek Safadine.
Yeah.
And he got started, Strikeforce champ. I've been trying to get him out here. Hopefully, we'll be able to convince him one of these days. We'd have the best team ever. Then we got Sam. He's there too. Yeah, it seems like all these guys that do this martial art are really good.
Yeah.
George St. Pierre, Tarek Safadine. But I also think with the karate fighting style, you have to be in really good shape.
You have to be really good shape, and unfortunately, a lot of the karate that's taught nowadays is very watered down.
Of course. It's been the same with the Krav Maga.
Yeah.
My buddy was saying to me, he said, what's the deal with the South and Krav Maga? It like somebody came here and introduced it to the people. I said, you're wrong. It's Krav Maga.
That's right.
The Southern martial arts. Because they'd be always like, hey, check out our gym. We got jiu-jitsu. We got Muay Thai, Krav Maga, wrestling. And it'd be because somebody who's like, no, we have to teach this here.
I don't know what it is about Krav Maga because
it entered the South, right? What I'm saying is not a lie, right?
There is a lot of Krav Maga places.
A lot.
But I do not see that many Israelis coming into the South.
No, just me. You're right. I heard the one in Vegas is pretty good. They used to put fighters out. Now they've kind of fizzled out. But that's back in early 2000s. I'm sure the Israeli force is tough and they got a great fighting style. But I think there's just too much water to the Kool-Aid now.
Well, the thing is so from what I understand, and I'm a big martial arts nerd, and I like reading about history of martial arts, the different ones and styles like that. Krav Maga is a weapons-based martial art.
Like dealing with weapons pulled on you, right?
No, using a weapon and keeping your weapon retention.
Okay.
So whether you have a knife, a bat, or something like that, keeping it with you and having it not taken away.
Which is super. If you have that weapon, that's really, really good martial arts.
Yeah, and the thing with their like hand-to-hand stuff is we're going to get your weapon from you.
So are they applying, like if they don't have a weapon, to take the weapon, or they always assume the weapon?
Yeah, the main tenet of Krav Maga is to get a weapon, to get the upper hand. Because
or deal with, if they have the upper hand, turn it to your upper hand.
Yeah. Because the end of the day, the whole tenet of Krav Maga is coming home.
Is coming home or dealing with like being jumped. I know that's
a
lot.
Dealing with pretty much taking care of the threat and coming home.
Okay.
And taking care of your family. That is the main tenet of Krav Maga. Is you get the upper hand whether you're cheating or not. You're going to make it home.
Yes. And people are always like, well, MMA fighters wouldn't, like, it's an old thing that's been said. You've probably heard it being a martial. MMA fighters wouldn't be able to deal with somebody fighting dirty like that, which I think is false, because if somebody tried to gouge my eyes out, I remember just when I was bouncing, jumping on their nuts with my knee. Like, I'll teach you to fucking gouge my eyes out. Try to do that shit.
And the thing is what people don't understand is the rules can be taken away real easily. You know, when you're sitting there on a wall and you've got control over them on the wall, you can do whatever you want if it's not in the cage.
Which is true. I mean, and you can do a lot in MMA.
Oh yeah, you can do a lot more than say like
a point fighting
karate, or even full contact karate.
Even boxing.
Yeah, even boxing. I mean, a lot of the champions in boxing utilize grappling.
Somewhat, yeah, in their clinch.
In their clinch. A lot of their stuff, when they were getting overmatched or something like that, they will clinch. And that's just main grappling. That's just grappling.
I think Thai fighting does the best job of emulating a stand-up fight where you could kind of do everything.
Yeah.
Like, because there's clinch, you could put them against the ropes.
Yeah.
Like, that's the closest to, like, straight stand-up. There's sweeps.
Yeah, and the thing is...
You could elbow?
You can elbow, but before they came out with the boxing rules, you could elbow and sweep in boxing.
Really?
Yeah.
We're talking probably closer to the bare knuckle ages.
Yeah, bare knuckle ages. You could sweep.
Because I don't think Jack Dempsey could do much of that. But we're talking...
When they came out with the Queensberry rules, they got rid of the kicks and the sweeps and stuff like that.
What are we talking, 1800s?
Yeah, in the 1800s, where it's just pure bare knuckle. I mean, it's... And I watch some of the bare knuckle fights now. They're using some of those old techniques.
I think the Diaz's actually use a lot of bare knuckle techniques.
I'm sure they do too.
I had a boxing coach that taught me a lot of bare knuckle techniques, and he had a book from a bare knuckle champion in the 1800s, late 1800s, like Jack something, but it's people. Bare knuckle boxing, I think, is closer to MMA than real boxing.
Yeah, and the thing is when you're bare knuckling, you're not trying to hit them full on the. You're trying to cut them.
Yes, you're trying to hit about 80%, but you're also trying to get that knuckle on.
Yeah, and then come across where it cuts instead of where you're trying to do impact. Yes. You're trying to cut.
And you would see Tyson would put that elbow into his hooks.
Yep.
So he wouldn't only hit you with his hand, he would hit you with his elbow too.
And that's part of the bare knuckle that he got taught. Part of his style is bare knuckle.
Well, what made him so great was his form and technique.
Yep.
I'm not take explosiveness to the side. He was just so technically sound and mechanically sound. He knew how to make his body function in a certain way.
Yeah.
And he did it without a reach, which is pretty hard to do.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to be a striker if you have a reach.
Yeah. And I really don't have a reach on most people, so I've been...
No, you have had to deal with being short your whole life,
Oh,
huh?
yeah. I've learned how to get into people's pocket and just do as much damage as I can before I get pushed back out again.
So is that why you do 52 blocks?
Yes, 52 blocks is kind of like the modern day progression of bare knuckle.
Well, what I understood it was a Southern fighting style. What slaves would do when they were in handcuffs or cuffed. They would be mostly elbows and using it and learning how to fight inside of shackles.
And
that's where it was created, like a bunch of slaves getting together and getting together.
The common history of 52 is it's a prison boxing system.
Did it derive from slavery?
Yep. And
amazing.
Basically, like they would get these slaves to fight each other.
Like the Mandingo fights you saw in the... Of course, it makes sense.
And the best of these fighters would pass it down because they knew whoever they were with would end up having to fight.
Interesting.
So it was a communal thing, and it's whatever happened to be... It's an add-on piece to your style.
I thought it was like to escape eventually in secret.
Yeah, kind of. You could do it, but for the most part, it was because they were pitting these people against each other. Now, Capoeira, on the other hand, was for escape and stuff like that.
Really?
A lot of the stuff that you see as dance was them trying to dodge.
Yeah, because Capoeira is just practicing defense.
Yep.
Like when they do their matches in sparring, it's more like a flow and like get used to finding rhythms. And Capoeira is good stuff. It's just not a complete martial art, but it could train somebody.
Like I said, they're just trying to get away from something. You know, you've got dogs. You're trying to hide in between stuff. That's why they've got that low stance.
Oh, interesting.
It's
and if you flow, you could definitely hit a dog, hit 2 dogs, as long as you're flowing.
Yep.
And motion in motion's harder to stop than motion out of motion.
Yeah, and like I said, these guys are they're trying to avoid like whips and lassos and stuff like that. That's trying to they're running away.
And even if they get hit, if they're rolling with it, it's going to be less of a hit.
Yep.
Like in boxing.
Yep.
That's such interesting stuff. So, do you still go to your place in Atlanta and do 52 blocks, or?
Yeah, I still go.
We've been covering the end a little bit.
Actually, I do 52 on Saturdays here when I'm sparring with you guys.
Nice.
We're on the boxing rounds.
You get to work your stuff in the sparring.
I work my stuff in that. And
well, you have to because it's in your close range.
Yep.
And it's something you're comfortable with.
Yep.
Yeah, you're good at getting in close range.
Yep. And part of 52, especially what my instructor shows me, is in close fighting.
Yeah, because that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, most fighting, like, realistically is in close if it's going to happen.
Yep.
After you hit 18, it's no longer meet me at the field.
That's right.
It's like, oh, this happened in a crowded spot.
Yeah.
Most fighting's done in crowds.
Yeah. And like my instructor, his name's Wise. I don't know what his last name is.
Wise, where do you train in Atlanta? Give him a shout out.
We train in whatever park. So 52 is not trained in a gym. It is trained outside in a park.
Similar to a field.
Yep. And they move from different parks in Atlanta.
That's awesome.
Yeah. If I go down there, I have to text Wise and say, hey, where you going to be at? He sends me his address, and it's always a park.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So that's cool. His name's Wise too. He's probably smart.
He's a pretty smart guy. He's
very wise.
A guard.
A corrections officer?
I don't know if he's a corrections officer or if he just does it's not mall cop, but he actually.
Oh, armed guard or something.
Yeah, he's an armed guard,
That's
stuff
awesome.
like that. Yeah.
I need a nickname like Wise.
Well, that's part of the thing about 52 is you get like your street name.
Oh, nice. What's your street name? Doomsdave?
No. I haven't picked one yet.
You haven't picked. You get to pick your own name.
You can. Yeah. Once you complete it, you get to pick your own name.
What are you gonna be, like Ice Pick?
I don't.
That's
know.
a pretty good one.
I have no clue. I really don't know.
Oh man, what could we call you, Dave? Guys, what can we call Dave? But it's got to be super cool and gangsta. It's got to be gangsta as fuck, right?
That's right.
What does he play music?
No, I don't think he plays.
You listen to the NWA and Brother Loke? When you're done?
No, not really. I mean, we're doing all the regular boxing stuff. He brings out the equipment. I'm either hitting pads. If we manage to rent out an actual boxing gym, we're doing combos. We're getting our blocks in place and making sure that we, and the main thing is you're going to get hit, but you learn how to roll.
Yes.
But the blocks are there as offensive, defensive weapons. So when I throw an elbow up, that's not just blocking. I'm actually trying to catch your hand when it comes.
Yeah, and hit it with the cornered elbow, just like when you go on the inside to the boxing, or you put your head down to take a punch.
Yep.
A lot of my first fight on my season 25 of The Ultimate Fighter, A lot of people are like, you got hit hard. Da, 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 da. I was like, well, he was at the end of the chin, and every time it come, I'd roll with it.
Yeah.
I was like, because I knew I was out of range.
Yeah.
But it looked like I got hit. Even one of the coaches was like, the wrestling coach is like, no, you rolled your punches. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them got through, but there's an act of rolling a punch too,
Yeah.
which is turning your chin with it. Just
Instead
like we've been,
had it.
yeah, instead of the other way, yeah. Or straight into the face,
Yeah.
Or even when you're blocking, turning, which we've been going over recently,
Yeah.
like lifting and turning and taking it to use that momentum against them.
Yep. Yeah, and that's a hard skill to learn. You got to practice it a lot.
Oh yeah, timing's tough. Timing and range are
Yeah.
some of the most key elements to striking.
Yep.
It wasn't until I really learned my range where I really improved and learned. I've always had pretty good timing, but I had a good coach teach me range. And
I like
that's
your
everything.
I love your pressure boxing style. I love. I mean, it goes along with my 52 because defensively, I'm going constantly a counter fighter,
Of course.
but then I cause the counter fighting when I pressure people.
Right.
When I first started with you, I was trying to counter all the time, but I was like, well, I'm taking more hits than I really want.
I appreciate the compliment coming from a martial artist like yourself. Of my best striking is done in the clinch.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that till like after my career, and it's like I do really well with a tie clinch and stuff. Tie clinch and turning it into a wrestling, because I am more of a static strength, like grappler.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't have that explosiveness of like the elastic muscles, because I'm more shoulder.
Yeah, and that's what I'm having problems with jiu-jitsu right now is my strength is more of that fast twitch muscle, and I'm having to develop my grabbing.
Yes, it's more of a grip and a holding, which is opposite from striking.
Yep.
Besides the clinch, grappling is very similar to the clinch, but good striking is elastic muscles.
Yeah, and when you're doing judo, especially if you're doing Olympic judo, there's some grabbing per se, but just to get somebody positioned into the throw, it's a fast twitch.
Yes,
because you've got to be really fast. Once you feel it, you got to jump into whatever throw you're going to do in a very quick manner, or you're going to lose that little bit of time.
Yeah, and it's inches with judo.
Yeah.
But static strength is good for judo though, because you are grabbing.
Yeah, and
it's very similar to wrestling.
You're more standing and trying to keep yourself grounded. So like we do a lot of like what Coach Sam does at the end of his classes is the wall sits.
Well, legs are super important for everything. Wrestling, grappling. You could even use it to keep somebody down in jiu-jitsu. Like Khabib, it's like I use my legs. I don't use my upper body.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, you don't have to just pin with your upper body. You don't have to hold. But like your legs do the work.
Yeah, and like I said, it's I'm having to retrain a lot because I've done striking for more than I've done grappling.
Of course. And it's funny because did you do a lot of clinch work?
Not really. I mean, Taekwondo is not a clinchy.
What about, it's a distance martial art.
It's a distance martial art. The closest I've gotten to clinch work
was with the 52?
Was with 52.
Is there clinch in 52?
There is clinches in 52.
Is it super in depth or
not
like a tie?
It's more of like a standing arm triangle,
which is something that is actually used in MMA. Against a wall. And stuff, or on the open if your head's in the right position.
Yeah, and then Russian pull downs.
The Russian. So you're using the Russian a lot.
Yeah.
That's cool. I figured that's where you're going to do more clinching because it's a fighting style derived for close quarters combat.
Yeah. So usually our controls are with a double hand push pull off one arm, or a standing arm triangle.
Standing arm triangle.
Where
Where
you get them and you push them towards the wall, and then you start digging in.
And then you're going to punch.
Yes.
It's not for a sub.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy the change in doing MMA and jiu-jitsu?
I do, actually. So, like, a lot of my grappling stuff is throwing and trying not to be taken down from a stand-up position.
Yes, and the submissions, they do go over in judo because there's a lot of judo in Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, and the main one I usually go is the setup for an armbar.
Of course, that's a big thing in judo.
And I really never got taught the rest of the submissions. I mean, our scarf hold, we used to just hold them down to get set up for an armbar.
Okay, yeah. So it needs some work, and they did a good job. I actually learned my scarf hold from a Gracie magazine, like when I first started in 2005, and cultivated it.
Yeah.
Since took elements from each coach, and that's one of my stronger positions.
Yeah.
But other than judo, it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I do better at the wrestling because I've wrestled so long, and judo's so different. Even the throws are so different.
Well,
you're more like
old
you
school
want to be
judo's
connecting.
not. Old school judo's not. I mean,
Okay.
there's a lot. Double legs and single legs are in the original curriculum.
I heard that.
Yeah.
There was wrestling in the original.
Yeah.
That's
But
awesome.
What really sealed the deal with a lot of those techniques was the Olympics. Yeah, they got rid of those techniques
because they didn't want it to be too wrestling.
Yeah, they didn't want to look at too wrestling, and now
I heard they made a big change for the next one or the past one.
Yeah, and they're going towards that they for television's sake, you have to go for something. Not when you're ready to go for something, you have to go for something.
But they're going to force the action.
Yeah, they're going to force the action.
Yeah, that sucks. Anytime there's government in anything, whether it be sports government or anything, unless it's to keep it clean, they had rules to make things worse.
Yeah, and even in wrestling, you don't want to force the action. You just get in the worst position if you force the action.
It's usually won by very minimal points. Somebody found the chance to get the takedown, but took 8 setups in the first period to get it. So yeah, that sucks. The Olympic does kind of suck with stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's expensive to do.
Oh yeah. And I've gone to several judo schools, and the more I go to the more later ones, it's a lot harder for me to comprehend because I'm used to really old school judo. There was single legs, double legs, more grounded techniques, and you didn't throw unless you had
yes, unless you were able to go.
Yeah.
Not just throw like it's the practice room, like thinking you got it in twerking.
Yeah.
And tweaking.
Yeah.
And you could dance somewhere else for money.
Yeah.
So Dave, what brought you to Militia? You just drove past us?
I actually drove past you. I've been wanting to get back into working out.
Yeah, you were much bigger.
I was much bigger. And the thing is I've had shoulder problems.
Yes.
For the past.
I remember I had you doing the scaption push-ups.
Yeah.
And they were helping, not fixing, curing.
They actually fixed. But I think.
I just know that because I had shoulder surgery.
Yeah. I had a frozen shoulder for like 6 years. It was either one or the other. When one went dead, the other one. When I got the other one where I could actually move it, the other one went dead.
Yeah, it started compensating.
Yeah, I started compensating, and I just started gaining weight. I was feeling horrible. Drove past, and I said, "Let's try the MMA school."
Yeah, you took the free week.
Yeah.
You actually started coming in more after your free week. I think you did a couple days the free week.
Yeah.
And then as like weeks went on, you've just been in like every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I enjoy it. I feel better the next day.
You're down on weight. How much did you lose?
Around 20 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
You look good.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, remember you were super immobile.
Yeah, it like I said, I couldn't do anything. I mean, I couldn't lift my arm past my shoulder length.
So you were ready to like go down the wrong path.
Yeah.
Of,
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I got to do something.
you just got to do something.
Yeah.
And then you just pass us every so often going home.
Actually, it was like the second time I passed you, I was like, I got to go check that place out. Like the third time I actually went
Because you
in.
know everybody in this martial arts community because you've been doing martial arts. So
Yeah, I know most of the people. I mean, I haven't actually formally talked to everybody in the martial arts. I'm sure my brother has. But I know what a McDojo is.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, you can go to a McDojo and still learn something.
Yes. Depends on how good the book is, right?
Yeah, depending on how good the book is. Usually, like the school before the school I'm at now on Hopkido, he was a McDojo, but he would get like guest instructors in.
Right. So you'd pick up a thing or two in a seminar.
Yeah.
So the thing I learned to do in seminars, don't do a seminar. Do a master class. So my best thing is I say, all right, if you want to hire me for a seminar, I'm just going to do a rear naked choke master class.
Yeah.
Go like 2-3 hours of reverse work, finish, back.
Yeah.
What I do for our class over a bunch of months.
Oh, yeah.
I turn it into a master class.
Yeah, I enjoy your guest instructors you bring in.
Well, thank you. Thank you. They all like meeting you. Everybody's like, oh, I like that guy, Dave. He came over and he said hi to me. It's like, just talk to me.
Ryan Hall's scary. He's a scary guy.
He's just in his own. He's just in his own. He liked meeting you, actually. You went over and chatted with him.
Yeah.
He was probably a little hungover because he's like, hey, show me around town. Called me at 11. Hey, show me around town. Well, it was 10, but then I showed up and he wasn't ready. So I was like, all right, I'm going to be at Jonathan's. You come here when you're ready because somebody I knew was fighting.
Yeah.
My first black belt, Jared. And I was like, you come here when you're ready. Then after an hour, he came there, watched the fights. Like, let's go whoop it up.
Jonathan's is a great place.
Food sucks.
It's expensive, but it's got a great ambiance.
It's got a good drink special, 2 for 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Fridays.
I usually don't drink that much, but I might
You're not much
check
of,
it out.
and you're a pool player.
Okay, so
All right, here we go. So it's after the Philippines. You got in the pool.
yeah, so when you're a pool player, unless you have a major drug and drinking habit, you have to act like you have a habit. So I learned to do all the Midori sours, the low alcohol drinks, and I can sip on that for hours on end
With
and
waters
never
in
get
between.
drunk. Yeah,
Okay.
and never get drunk. I can act drunk and I can hustle.
Wow. So you did some pool hustling, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean that's one of the things that you learn how to do is you got to learn how to hustle.
How do you pool hustle? What is the art? So when were you at the peak of pool hustle?
So basically, to pool hustle, right, is you walk into a place.
Have you been there before?
You usually don't go to a place that you know.
Do you get a tip or anything on where to go? Or
No. I mean, usually it's like dance clubs, like maybe
like a strip club will have like a pool table?
Strip club will have a pool table.
They have them down here in the South, huh?
I don't know if there's one here in the South. I don't.
No, I mean like pool tables at strip clubs.
Well, there was a dance club called Coyote Ugly. It was a country western bar that had pool tables.
So they're more like go-go places out
Yeah,
here, right?
yeah,
Like they
yeah.
wear bikinis and
And
then they have pools. So it's like it's probably not a bad bar.
yeah, it's not a bad bar. And you usually go to or if you go to a bar, it's like a hole in the wall bar that has like 2 or 3 tables, and it's king of the table.
So it's like this place, Lively's or whatever, the Ridge now.
Yeah. And you just walk in, and you put your money down, and then you go, hey, you want to make this for $5 or something.
Or do you go, hey, anybody will have drugs?
No.
That's not a good opener.
That's not going to go over. and more than likely there are drugs.
Yeah, I know. They're like, hey, anything to make drugs to make me bad at pool, and want to gamble. But that's not a good opener.
That's not a good opener. Usually, because nowadays everybody's savvy and everybody goes, "Oh, there's hustlers in town," and all
there was
that.
probably a movie about it at some point.
But to tell you the truth, drugs are not hard to come by for major pool tournaments.
It makes sense. Probably a lot of cocaine, a lot of uppers.
Uppers, downers,
Downers.
whatever you want to get.
I thought it would be like something to super focus you.
Not really, because like I said, you have major back problems when you play a lot.
So like a painkiller.
So like if it's a high dollar weekend tournament, you might start playing Friday night and maybe have 2 or 3 hours between nights of sleeping, and you're constantly playing. You're either in the tournament, you're gambling.
So this is non-hustle.
Yeah, no.
This is like all the hustlers meet together.
Yeah, so when you are in a pool tournament and there's a lot of backers around, you're constantly playing.
Okay, so we'll get back to that because that's awesome. But I want to talk about how do you hustle? So you go and you start at $5. I think that's where we left off.
Yeah.
And I started running my gums.
And generally, that's what you're going to get is $5, $10 games.
Okay.
And you can't do like I don't know how to play.
No, you got to be good enough, right?
You just got to be good enough, yeah.
Or you got to suck not as bad. Or you just so wait.
You
on a $5 game, do you make it close?
You try to make it close.
The first one?
You try to make it close every time. Like if you're playing 8-ball, you'll run 2 or 3 balls, but you'll make it where your opponent cannot make balls at all. Whoa. Or not make the 8-ball. It's moving the balls around. If you're playing 9-ball, you're chunking all the time. You're trying to
hit a ball and then miss, and then scratch.
You're trying to make a ball go 4 or 5 rails and accidentally make the 9-ball.
When so how many games do you play before you make the big pitch? Is it a big pitch?
No, if you start doing big pitches, then you're going in major gambling, and that around here, you're not going to get a game. If you start doing that in like a small bar right here, you get all these guys calling people, and then they start bringing in all the real hustlers that come in.
Oh wow, yeah. The bigger sharks.
Yeah, so it becomes $5, $10 game to 1,000 to 5,000 real quickly.
Wow. Yeah. So you just make a little bit of, what would a good night be? Couple $100?
Yeah, usually a couple $100. Even 100 is pretty good. I mean, I've had the more money I have made where somebody has actually tried to hustle me. I get less hassle. I actually get paid.
You just eat a bigger fish. You eat a smaller fish.
Well, you eat a person that thinks he can play and doesn't realize who they're playing against. I've made more money off a guy that goes from town to town. He was a big fish in his town and managed to play all
this. This is a big pool city, though.
It is a big pool city.
I discovered that when I first came out here. I went to my first pool hall.
Yeah.
It was the CVC.
Yep.
Alpha Lee.
Yep.
I was like, let me just see what these things are about. My hotel's right here. Yeah. I could probably get a beer there. Nobody wanted to even have a conversation with me. Yeah. Except some old Appalachian man. Like the young kids were doing young kid things. The pool players were doing pool things. I found some old Appalachian man to have a drink and talk to me about the city. Yeah. That's all I wanted to be like. How's the city?
That's just CBC. That's just CBC.
I was like, yeah, the one on Lee. Apparently, the one over there is better. I was like, I just want a conversation.
I know
and
the owners
figure out how it is.
I know the owners of both. They're a husband and wife group, and I've done work for them, so I know both of them.
They weren't even there. I just couldn't believe it was like over 100 people were in here. I was like, whoa, pool's serious here.
It is a major, serious thing.
So these guys who go from town to town, they're just going in the pool city.
Yeah, they. A lot of them are like like the few guys that I've actually had to make money from, they're like traveling doctors or nurses. I've had
They were the best
pilot,
pool players out
I've
of
had
their
a
town.
pilot try to hustle me.
Wow. And he just went right into the trap.
Yeah, he lost $80 in like 30 minutes.
How'd you know it? Did you know he was trying to hustle you?
Oh yeah, I knew he was. So
He was a few levels behind.
I used to, when I couldn't find IT work, I did night management at a place called Diamond Billiards Club.
Okay. Is it in here in Chattanooga?
It's in Hickson.
Okay.
It's right beside, you know where the S curves are on Hickson Pike?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, so it's the S curves are the road that gets you into downtown Chattanooga from Hickson.
Okay.
There's a little bar that when it was originally opened was run by all pool hustlers. What? Yeah, it was two guys that one guy was a pro, the other guy was a high end, and he opened it up and just hired pool hustlers.
As his business model?
As his business model.
Hey, we'll have cheap beer, we'll get him drunk, and then we'll rob him.
Well, it brought like everybody that could play pool into town. Wow. So at one time, we had one tournament where we had 3 different world champions come into the place.
Wow.
Like the number one pool player in the United States right now is a guy named Shane Van Boning. He came through Chattanooga
to go to that place.
Just to go to that place before he turned pro.
And then he knew there were hustlers. He knew it was the Sharks' fucking den.
Yeah, yeah. And like
he's
I said,
I'm gonna out-shark these guys.
Oh, he did. He did. Nobody wanted to play.
Did you guys all know who he was? No, not at the time.
No, not at the time. It was his uncle, who was like a big backer, called around all the United States, and he took Shane all around the United States.
It's like, oh, you want to play? Was it like, hey, is this a good place to play pool? Or like, hey, I got my boy wants to play for pool for money.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I said, his first set was like a $10,000 set.
Wow.
Yep.
So that's so funny as a sport, which is called a sport, but it's a sport of precision.
Yep.
Because you're not. It's a mental sport. I would say more. It is a mental
sport.
Like people don't get this. If you do NASCAR, actually controlling that beast is like controlling a small bull or a small horse. Like it's actually a physical thing, but that's a mental attrition.
It is a mental sport. I remember going
to chess.
It is chess, but it's
with
also
a little bit more physicality.
Well, it's an endurance sport because I remember
it's like poker.
Oh yeah, it's exactly like poker. That's why a lot of
the only difference is there's more luck in poker, and you got physics in that.
Oh yeah, I remember going to one pool tournament, and I think the match lasted for 9 hours, but there was so much money.
How does it last for 9 hours with 8 balls?
So they do what's called a head race. That means you have to be like 8 games ahead to win.
Oh wow!
So if you do
not win by like 2 in basketball or 10,
like if you win 5 games ahead and the other one, your opponent wins 2 back, you're now 3 games ahead.
3 games ahead.
Yeah.
What?
That's
crazy.
That could, like I said, that could last for hours. But I
bet.
I remember one head race, and this was open betting, and there was so much money on the pool lights because they would post the money on the pool lights, and we're talking $100 bills, stacks of $100 bills that the light was tipping on one side. I think there was like $50,000 on that match.
Wow, that's crazy. People don't realize like what's interesting about pool as a sport is like it's got like such a dirty background to just get up. You gotta gamble.
Oh yeah,
there's so much money behind it. It's like Thai fighting in Thailand. You gotta gamble on the Thai fighter and the kids. But yeah, it's like you can't just be like the guy who goes to practice and goes to these pool tournaments and move up into things. It's like no, you got to get into gambling, dingy pool halls.
If you want to make a living at it, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, you can't just go. You can't just go to practice, get good at it, go to these tournaments, and move up. No, you got to go like.
Well, and the thing is there's that term, iron sharpens iron. To be the best, you have to play the best, and because it's a mental thing, you have to believe that you can beat them. So unless you're playing these high folks that don't care about losing 10,000 in a setting.
Yes, and it's kind of like you got to also find the degenerates.
Oh yeah,
because if you're losing 10,000 in a set, you're a degenerate gambler. Not in a bad way.
Well, I mean that's why a lot of poker players hang around pool players, because they're backing a pool player because they strictly get the thrill out of the gambling.
The gamble.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Pool's such a crazy underworld for just a game of math.
Oh yeah, you talking about getting some drugs? Yeah, you can get anything underneath the sun if you get enough pool players together.
Yeah, because it's all about focus, and
yeah,
usually drugs equal focus.
Yeah,
some of them.
Like I said, you can get coke, you can get uppers, downers. I mean, I remember one of the
meth.
You probably can. I haven't seen.
Because it's a longevity thing.
I have not seen meth. I've seen more coke than I've done anything else.
Probably that makes the most sense.
I remember as a tip, I got like a baggie full of Xanaxes.
It's like, I'm not really into Xanax.
Yeah, I mean that's what the guy said. I'm not really into Xanaxes here, and throws me a baggie full of Xanaxes, and I'm like,
I'm not either.
Okay.
Yeah, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
I guess it's currency in the pool world.
It is. But yeah, if my back was hurting, I just ask around and get a hydro.
Hydro, yeah, that makes sense. My back's hurting. I'm like, who's got a hydro so I can help you guys trade?
Yeah.
So I can move my neck again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. Pro wrestlers have it even worse.
Oh yeah, like I said, I mean that was the biggest thing. That was like more money than gold was hydros.
Wow, yeah, because you needed a doctor to get it for you.
Yeah, because I mean everybody had back problems. I still have back problems. If I play a lot, I can feel it.
Are you still playing pool?
I don't do it as much. I've gotten into a few pool leagues just to get the competitive going. I've thought about it since I've gotten more in shape, getting back in shape to do more of the marathon tournaments.
Yeah, because you can bend a little bit better now, and
yeah.
So So do you think losing, like getting older, is an inhibitor? Because like you start to lose your vision a little, right?
Oh yeah.
Once you get older.
Yeah, but so there are different aiming techniques that you don't really need to have great vision for.
Okay.
So I've learned a bunch of those, but it takes practice. I can pretty much aim without. Once I get it sighted down, I don't have to look at the ball anymore. I can look away and make the ball.
You just know how to keep your hands straight.
Yeah, just
for so many years.
Yep,
just muscle memory.
Yep, it's just muscle memory.
I heard roulette tables. They got on that. They would get muscle memory and they would hit like the same section of numbers a lot.
Really?
From spinning, yeah. But now they tell them that they got to do a hard throw, soft throw, and stuff like that because they were gaining muscle memory and spinning.
I went to an amateur pool tournament in Vegas one year.
How intense is the Vegas scene? The top scene, because it's the number one for poker. It's the number one gambling. Is it the top scene for pool?
Yeah, there's a lot of pool tournaments in Vegas now.
Yeah, it's the World Series of Pool. I'm sure they have something called the World Series of Pool.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's probably a diamond event, which is number one. What is the number one event in pool?
For the beginning of the year, it's called the Derby City Classic.
That's in Louisville, huh?
Well, it was in Louisville.
Now it's in Vegas.
But at about 10 years ago, it moved to Elizabethton, Indiana, out in one of the casinos in there.
Okay. Because you got to have gambling.
Yeah. Middle of the year, Predator holds like 4 events in Vegas.
Okay.
Pro events.
That makes probably the most highest, the World Series or the Super Bowl is done in Vegas.
Yeah. So for amateur events, so there's a big amateur community. I mean, you're not making your living as a pro. You might play as a pro, but all their events are in Vegas. Wow. So a lot of like the BCA League, the Amateur Pool Players Association League, there's like a few more other ones. They all host it throughout the year in Vegas. So Vegas gets a lot of pool play.
It makes sense because it's a gambling sport. Yeah. Where's the gambling capital of the world? Vegas. I think China's got a big gambling community too.
Yeah. So and all these end in what for the pros is the points where they what's called the Mosconi Cup. It's Europe against America. So the best players in America play the best players in Europe.
Who's usually better?
Last 3 or 4 years, it's been Europe's.
Does Russia get to put in? Because they got a strange pool.
Yeah.
They got those
that's
big
part of
red
Europe.
balls. They got those big red balls and those little things.
Yeah. The weird thing is they get all of Europe. So we're talking from England all the way to Russia.
Yes. It's a big...
All we get is the United States of America.
So we're
screwed a lot of times.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, for the longest time, the American pool players were like the creme de la creme, but we have not been that in a very long time.
Wait till Japan takes over. I'm surprised
they don't have. We don't get.
They like smoking cigarettes. They like precision.
To tell you the truth, China has more higher end pool players than Japan.
I bet because of 3 billion people.
Well, and the government backs them.
Like the Chechnyan government backs the fighters.
Yep.
Makes sense. China, yeah, that's precision too.
Yeah, and the thing is a lot of these like high level pros that to be pro you have to be backed. You can't. And the Americans don't get backers. They don't have somebody that pays their bills every day. They have to go out and gamble. They have to
get
they have a side business.
Yeah, they got to get the website to back them, like Bodog or whatever it is.
Yeah, so I think it used to be a lot of the poker sites that backed them.
Yeah, that makes sense. And now it's a little bit of a famine for them.
Yeah, for the American players, it's been more of a famine. There's just not been that many events. There's been more events in Europe.
Yeah, and it's probably like the less dirty end. So Coca-Cola will put their stuff on a European, but not the guy playing in pool halls.
Yeah, unfortunately, American pool has backed themselves in a corner, and it's going to take a while before there's some kind of backing.
Kind of like American boxing did.
Yep.
Just the style of gyms being run, and Europeans are getting ahead.
Yeah, and all it is just a people's opinion of them.
It's so interesting. That's such an interesting, like all underworld. It's almost like you would call.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like the Derby City Classic. You had all the mafia people. You could see all the people from Jersey and New York and all that.
Yeah. And from the upstate New York pool clubs.
Yeah.
Pool halls.
All those backers would come in and you could tell they were mafia.
Yeah, it was New York. New York more than New Jersey.
Then you had the Chicago gangs came in, and they were usually the ones that I saw, wife beaters, pants falling almost off, very big guys right beside them.
It was like you had the UN of gangs.
Oh yeah, It was funny. I lent one of the pool players that was backed by a New York gang, like a piece of equipment, right? And at the end of the tournament, he said, "Did you get it back?" It was like a bridgehead or something like that. I lent him. I said, "Yeah, I think I got it." He goes, "If not, I would have grab my buddies over here, and they were two big guys. Go get it for you."
You're like, no, I
no,
got
it's good.
I got a car bomb instead, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's it.
I lived an interesting life. Let's put it that way.
So you got a family.
Yeah, I have a family.
I know. We talked all about. You got all girls, right?
I do have all girls. I have one biological daughter and 4 stepdaughters.
Wow.
My biological daughter made me a grandpa not too long ago.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
That's awesome. How exciting is that, being a grandpa?
It's pretty cool. I mean, first of all, I'm used to girls.
Was it a boy?
And he's a boy.
Oh,
so now I have
spoil the boy.
Now I have somebody to hang with.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Dave.
Thank you. And the girls, they keep multiplying.
Yeah, they just, you blink and there's just more.
Yeah. So currently at my house right now, my oldest stepkid had to move back in. Of course, boyfriend came with him.
Oh no.
With her. My 19.
Does he at least like? Is he cool?
Yeah, he's pretty cool. My 19-year-old, her boyfriend, kind of got kicked out of his house, so now he's living with me.
Oh, Dave, you're such a nice guy.
So, I now my pool practice area is taken up by one set of kids.
So wait, you don't even have your pool room?
No, I'm waiting for my workout area. I have a workout area at the house to be. Well, it's kind of junked up with their stuff too.
Yeah. You don't have a place to hide in the house.
Yeah, and I'm pretty much, I work from home, so I work in my it's like a garage room type deal.
You got all the just chaos running around you. And just
no, that's the only place they don't really come in.
That's your sanctuary.
It's my sanctuary. Is my workshop, and pretty much there's no AC in it.
You get
but
to
there's at least a TV in there.
Do you get to open
the dogs?
You got the garage door and back?
It's a sliding glass door. I have carports. I don't have a garage.
Okay, nice.
But basically, that's where we store our dogs when they don't want to go outside in their crates. So I'm with the dogs in the crates. So I'm sitting here in a meeting, and the dogs will go, "Oh, roof, roof, roof. Shut up!" I gotta let them out when I go to a meeting.
You're like, hold on, I gotta let these dogs in a cage.
Oh yeah. And my dogs are
they girls?
They're both girls. Yes.
Dave, you got surrounded.
Yes, I've got a Doberman and a bulldog mix. And
they're just ladies running your life
all
around the clock.
Yeah, it's horrible. Except for the 2 boyfriends, I have one small dog that's like 3 pounds. That's a Pomeranian Shih Tzu mix that only has one eye.
and that's the boy.
That's the boy.
That's all. That's you and Dave. Three boy eyes in the house.
That's right.
Is there any tips you could say to our viewers on raising women?
Oh, Lord.
I like that sigh before it started.
There's things called Women's Issues Week.
Yeah.
And that usually lasts like 3 weeks out of the month for me.
Oh, yeah. You probably can't get away.
So my only tip is find somewhere where you can zone out.
That's why you come here and just
that is the main reason.
You're like, hey, like, no matter what, I'm going to hang out for the next class. I may or may not do it. I'm going to watch.
That's right.
And not get a demand yelled at me. And you're a saint, Dave. I'm sure.
You now understand why I'm here a lot.
Oh, we wouldn't have it any other way. You're like right up the road too, right?
Yeah, right behind Cam Jordan.
Oh, all right. So you're on the fancy part of town.
Yeah. I'm in a fancy part of town. My other house is like over here by where the Easy Auto is.
You let me know when you want to rent it out.
It's yeah. All right, I'll let you know.
Me and Steph and Chris now are ready.
Oh, okay.
We can't wait to get out of our apartment. We're on the ones on McBrien. You know how that is. A little rough.
Yeah.
A little, don't leave your car unlocked
or
door unlocked.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they get like everything's shooting up.
Oh, yeah.
That's why you need to get your roof now.
I get calls all the time. Hey, what are you going to do with that property? I'm renting it.
Yeah, hey, just leave me alone.
Well, I have to rent it now. My last renters wrecked the place, so I had to put $15,000 in it.
Yeah, I heard. That sucks.
Yeah. So I've got to rent it to recoup that money back.
Yeah, you got at least another year.
Yeah.
So who's your favorite fighter?
Now?
Like growing up. Let's start growing up.
Growing up, Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris.
And he was an actual fighter.
Yes. People don't realize that. Everybody says Bruce Lee this, Bruce Lee that. I was going to actually, one of my questions, are you a Bruce Lee fan? But
I am a Bruce Lee fan.
But he was an actor.
Yes, he was an actor.
He had one fight. I think Chuck Norris had a bunch.
Yeah. Chuck Norris had a bunch. And if you watch some of those old fights, they were full contact. They were pretty brutal.
He was in the era of like Superfoot Wallace, Joe Louis, not Joe Louis the boxer, Joe Louis the kickboxer. Yeah, Chuck Norris just happened to be like handsome. And charismatic. Like I've watched him on like talk shows and Today shows. He would always woo the ladies, do his thing, do his exhibition, and like, oh yeah, by the way, watch Walker. But he was a badass.
Yeah. The second fighter around that era is Benny the Jet.
I know who Benny the Jet is. Yes. So you were an American kickboxing fan.
Yep.
Yeah, Benny the Jet was good. Did you like Joe Louis? He's Jersey, I think.
His style, I mean, of course, I'm a counter fighter, so his style was more power.
And he worked well in close quarters, too.
Yeah, power. So I really wasn't that big of a fan of his. And like I said, my background is in kicking and flashy stuff. So
yes,
it wasn't really my cup of tea the way he fought. But I mean, he was a good fighter.
Yeah, no, I trained with guys who trained with him. He was still kicking down in New Jersey Northeast area.
Yeah, and
I mean, they're not like rich or anything. I think they put on seminars and they make a living from karate.
Well,
Taekwondo dojos.
Him and Bill Superfoot like have a thing together, I think.
That makes sense.
And I enjoyed Superfoot.
He was good.
Yeah.
There's a guy in Vegas who's really good too. One Kick?
I don't know. I don't know that guy.
I think Usman was there. Apparently he's awesome.
Yeah.
There's somebody in Vegas who's like better than Extreme Couture and has all the champions.
Yeah.
But is very like, I am here the whole time.
Well, I think a lot of like the really good coaches try to stay down low.
Okay. Like the leg kicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you even see more leg kicks to the lower calf than the thigh.
Yeah, and the big, so traditionally the kicks were lower. The only time they ever got higher was when they added Savat to karate.
Yeah, Savat could even be taught in Thailand. It's French.
Yeah, it's French kickboxing.
Like one of my the Muay Thai coach I learned the most from, his name was Daniel Warren, and he ran the French Muay Thai team. So they had it both out there.
Yeah. But the thing is, Savat, you could wear shoes.
Yes, I heard it's good, Savat.
Oh, yeah.
And Litway, are you familiar with that?
Yes, I am familiar
like bare
with it.
knuckle Muay Thai.
Well, it's bare knuckle Muay Thai, but they had headbutts.
Yeah, so that's more fighting than Muay Thai.
Well, I mean, so there are headbutts in 52. So.
All right. You hear it, Dave's our last advocate for 52. A lot of people don't know, though. It is a really good martial art, though.
Oh, yeah.
And the history behind it's an American martial art.
It is an American martial art.
You are a regular Southerner.
I am. Actually, a lot of the 52 practitioners are in New York, in the Bronx.
Really? I thought it would be more down south.
Well, okay, so 52 is more of a New York term. In the South, it's called stutto. Yep.
Interesting. Where'd it come from? Africa?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it's got African dance elements, stuff like that. Stutto has the breakdancing influence. Or actually, breakdancing was influenced by stutto.
Wow. Dave, amazing to pick your brain and talk martial arts with you. You're like one of my favorite people. This has been so awesome to have you on the podcast.
Well, it's been my pleasure, Coach.
Coach, same thing.
Whatever.
Coach Tom. Coach Sensei. I had a buddy call me that. Coach Sensei. And I was like, I like that because it's kind of condescending. Dave, thank you again.
No problem.
All right, guys, it's that time. So last time, on our last ticket, we won $20. I paid 10. We're down to 2. So we doubled our money. Of course, we got to go again. So which one should we do, Bobby? Green, jumbo bucks.
Jumbo bucks.
That one's much easier and comprehensible right now. So let's get this. We said the dime. Where's the dime? So, 6 numbers. See? 1, 6. Oh, heads up. All right. So we got 37, 49, 21, 25, 33, 40. All right. Am I going to sell the gym? Oh, 300,000. Would you look at that? It's a lot of money. Nope. Do you think it's just 1 when you get it?
No.
So like, you're not going to win on all these. It's like, hey, you hit the last number on this. I hope. Nothing. All right, let's take out a whole row. No. 31, no. 28, no. 27. I don't like the looks of this. 41, no. 24, no. 47, no. All right, look, we'll do this. Look at that. That's 200. You definitely know it's not one of those numbers. See? Oh, free ticket. Oh, that's going to be it. Is that it?
You win, yeah.
No. All right.
No, we didn't even win the ticket.
No, we didn't win the ticket. Or do you just get one?
No, it's if you match the 50. No, so no ticket for you.
No ticket?
Wow. I don't think they put the tickets if you didn't win the ticket.
Yeah. Who would have known? 75. Not winning. I don't think this is a winner.
I don't think so.
No. All right, to make up for last week, we're doing the next one. We're doing the next one. You gotta gamble. Not Starbucks, because they hate straight people. All right. All right, so this is it. We're even now. We're down to a ticket. I spent 10. Are are we going to go next door to get some more? All right, what do you think, Bobby? Should we start with the prize?
Yeah.
We got to start with the prize. All right, free ticket. I like the... Are we going to get a ticket?
Yeah, I think so.
We got a ticket.
And that's it.
What?
You can't win any more than a ticket, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, so we're even.
Wow.
That's it.
Beautiful.
You really can't... Can I win 2 tickets?
I don't think so. Might as well test it out.
All right, let's see.
Just give him a scratch.
I can't win 5,000?
I don't think so.
Wow, you can't win any more. What?
Yeah, but like, it's because you can't even get like the $10 back. You can only get a ticket.
That's it, just one.
Yeah. Back at square one.
Is that it? Any of these match up?
Mm,
All right.
Nope, just a ticket.
Guys, I'm not Tom Galicchio, your coach anymore. I'm even Steven. I'll see you next week. Bonus track, motherfuckers. All right, guys, we got the ticket. I couldn't let my gambling get ahead of me. I'm addicted. We need to win. We're even. We're going to see if the podcast is ahead or behind. Apparently, these $10 tickets are 3.5 to 1. So that's the way to go. It's on back. Pause your podcast for a second and see that they're 3.5 to 1. We're even. It's like I just spent $10 on a ticket, right, Bobby?
Yeah, just
right.
Yeah.
And I got my ticket back.
Yeah.
It's like the other podcast didn't happen. Hold on, before we start scratching, I'm gonna have a good luck sip of water. Refreshing. All right, so we get 6 numbers, not 5, not 7, but 6. 1 more than 5, 1 less than 7. I wonder if I would have tipped him another $1 if he'd give me a number. Would you look at that? 6 numbers. Watch, free ticket. Watch, it's a free ticket, the first one. How fucking... We'd have to film 2 bonus tracks. All right, 30, nothing. Ticket. 46, no. All right, spared you from a bonus track, whoever's listening in. 40, nothing. Ticket. Bonus track, nothing. Ticket. Sorry, I didn't mean to growl. 300,000. You know that's a no. Watch, we win 300,000. You know how much better the gym would be? Woo! $10. We could win that. That'd be another bonus track, though. 28. No. All right. 75. No. 44. I don't got 44. 300,000. Is the gym better? No. 5,000. Is my vacation better? No. 5,000. No. That'd be so good to win 5,000. I'm humble. I just need to win 5,000. I'll take 30 for the podcast. Nothing. 19. Nothing. I can't take it. 14. Nothing. 34. Nothing. I don't think we got this. This Michael Jackson. This is it. Nothing. All right, guys. The lottery won. We'll see you next week, and hopefully I can sell the gym.